I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And today in the kitchen, we're going to have a great time. We're going to do a little cleaning in the kitchen, some organizing in the kitchen, as well as cook up a great meal. So, if you're interested, I hope you'll stay right there.
Well, let's get our day started. And certainly, I love this candle. And we're going to shine our light around the world. So, let's get it ready. Thank you for coming on this adventure today, because we certainly are going to work hard. And we're going to be in this kitchen. This is, we're kind of going from morning to afternoon, and it's just going to be a real fun time together. So let's get down to business and do a few things. Well, let's work on some potato salad, because after all, potato salad needs to be prepared. Then it needs to go into the refrigerator for a certain amount of time. So we're starting with a pot of water. Now, if you look down in there, you'll see I've got eggs down in there because they're going to be boiling too. I'm trying to multitask. I've cut my potatoes up into small pieces, perfect for the salad, because I do not like handling hot potatoes. And we're going to bring all of this up to a boil. I will take the eggs out when they're ready and continue the potatoes until they're the tenderness that I like. So we're going to add in a little salt, and so that the potatoes will have some seasoning, because after all, that potato salad is going to need some salt. And so I've just kind of taken a little sprinkle and put in there, because I don't want them to be too salty, but I certainly want them to be salty enough. So I'm going to put a top on it and let that come to boil. Now we've got it bubbling, and you can see I've taken the eggs out. The potatoes are just about ready. And what I'm going to do with these is that I'm going to drain them and bring them back. And once I do that, you'll see that I'm going to place them in that bowl off to the side. And we're going to mix it all right there in the bowl. So that's going to be perfect. So I'm taking my potatoes out. I'm trying to do it in a way that I'm still using that same pot, and just kind of transferring things over, making sure I have the moisture out, because we don't need the moisture in the potato salad. So let's get all those potatoes out. There we go, all done and ready to go. So over here on my working table, I have the potatoes, I have a few carrots, I have some onions and celery, and what else did I put? Oh, green peppers are in there. And these are extras that I'm putting off into the bowl, so that once I look at my salad, I can decide if I need to add more. And if not, then I can use these grated vegetables later in the week. So if you're going to grate anything, always make sure that you grate more than you need. I'm taking a little paper towel, putting it on top, so the excess moisture, while it's in this container, will go into the paper towel, and these vegetables will last longer. So I'm putting them off to the side now, but they will eventually go into the refrigerator. Now it's time to really get down to business. I am using up everything today. I'm going to finish off my pickle relish, and I love pickle relish. So I'm putting my sweet pickle relish in, and I'm not using all of it just yet, because remember, you want to be able to kind of look at the salad and tell whether or not it needs additional seasoning. I've got mustard in this container, but I already know this container is just about empty. So I'm going to try to get as much out of that container as I can. I'll turn it upside down so that the mustard will hopefully move down to the bottom, and that's going to be the end of that. Now let's see, we need some mayo, our salad dressing, whichever one you like, and actually you'll see that I'm going to start out with Duke's. Uh-oh, I don't have much in there, so I'm going to put that in. Now I really am a Miracle Whip girl, and that's because Miracle Whip has a little more flavor, I think, than Duke's, or than mayonnaise. I like the salad dressing. I guess it's a little sweeter, you might say. So we finished that off. I'm going to toss it, and guess what I'm going to? My favorite, Miracle Whip. So we're going to add in a little scoop of Miracle Whip into this salad. Now you're going to start out with less, and then you can always add more. If you look at it, once you start to mix it, you're going to think, that's not enough, and because you know what consistency your family likes. Now we need a little seasoning, so I'm just sprinkling a little house seasoning over the salad. I don't want too much, but I do want enough that those potatoes are going to be good. And I'm adding some additional black pepper. So just giving it a few shakes. It's all about the flavor and how much flavor you like. So I'm putting those spoons off to the side because you never know, I may need to go back. So I'm kind of mixing a little bit, and then I'll start tossing our salad. So this is a delicious salad, and it's so easy to make. Now remember those boiled eggs? We're going to get those eggs peeled. We're going to put them into this salad, and I'm looking at this thinking, I may need just a little more salad dressing because it's just a little bit dry. And so we're going to give it a really, really good mix before I start adding much more of anything. So let's, you see, I'm going to give it a taste. Okay, that might do it, but not quite. So we're going to add just a little more salad dressing to our mix. That's perfect. Well, that was just right. So let's continue. Now, what else shall we add? So I'm working on those eggs. There's my, this is the best device ever. It not only slices your eggs or tomatoes, something a little soft, but you can also use it for your salad. So notice, I just have to run it across the tines on this device and push it through a second time in a different direction, and they're good to go. This is, I believe they call it a tomato slicer, but I'm going to link one down in my Amazon shop below, so that should you be interested, this is the device to have. It's great for tuna salad, or if you're serving tomatoes, or if you have soft types of vegetables, you can use this particular slicer and they'll come out perfectly every time. Those slices are just right. I love it. So let's get a little more. We've got eggs in, and I'm thinking we need a few more eggs. I like eggs in my potato salad, and you know, sometimes I'll get fancy and throw in a little bacon or you know, something else into it, but you know, potato salad is pretty basic. So we're going to throw in one more egg. So there we go. We've got him sliced. See how quick that works? Done. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. So there we go. We're going to give it a good mix. And then we're going to clean that bowl up. I think we might as well go ahead and use up the rest of that pickle relish because there wasn't much in there. So I'm going to toss that in. Voila, that's done. So we have just eliminated quite a few things. And that's another good thing about potato salad. Our salads like this is that if you have little bits of things that are in your refrigerator, you can put them together in a salad and finish up all kinds of relishes and whatever that might be in your refrigerator just sitting around taking up space. So I have eliminated at least 3 items from my refrigerator. Thank goodness, because it was overflowing. I tried to do a month of shopping so that I would not have to run to the grocery all the time, and especially in today's world. And so I think I did pretty good. I had 1 delivery and that was it. So now we're going to put this into a container. We're going to put it into the refrigerator and he's going to be ready to go. And by dinner time, which is going to be several hours from now, but by dinner time it will be nice and cold and ready to be served. And actually I'm going to serve it over some tomatoes, some sliced tomatoes. My hubby absolutely loves tomatoes. There's never enough tomatoes for him. So we're going to serve this over some tomatoes, and I promise you this potato salad is not going to last long. So voila, there we go, potato salad done. We're going to put the top on it and get it into the refrigerator. That was so easy. There we go. Potato salad. I've got some beets that I had.
Let it never be said that life is boring because it's not. Surprise!
We just had a spring storm to blow through. It was fast moving and it certainly cooled things off. But these are the leavings of the hail. Well, I'm trying to show you what happened after the storm. I don't know if you can tell. Seems like every leaf there is decided to blow up on the house. Let's see if I can get you close enough to see the steps. That's the way the entire house looks. I started to take things out for dinner and decided, well, let me go in the refrigerator. And you know, when you open that refrigerator door, it's kind of an endless cavern. And I started moving things around and thinking, okay, let's put this here, this here, this here, this here. And unfortunately, I thought, well, let me get my towel with my soapy water and bleach and give everything a good wipe down while I'm in here. And I kind of got lost in the refrigerator. And I thought, okay, well, while I'm here, I might as well just get everything reorganized again, because the big guy likes to come in. He has certain things that he likes, and they take up a lot of space. You know, a lot of jars, a lot of little containers, and some things needed to be thrown away. So I got rid of all of that. So let's get that going. I thought, okay, well, let's give everything a good wipe off while we're here and take care of the stainless steel, because you know that's what we're doing all day, every day. It's wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe and sanitize. So that part's done. Well, Mama needs coffee, and if I fix myself some coffee, I'm going to need to fix the big guy some coffee too. So that's just the way it goes. Okay, I'm over in my little coffee station. I've kind of sped it up for you, but I love my mom cup that I found for Mother's Day, and of course he needs his Yeti because he's going to drag this cup around for the rest of the day. So I'm just putting everything in there, getting it ready so we can continue on through our day and to do the things that we need to take care of. So, whew, let's get down to business because it has certainly been a busy, busy day. The new normal has made our church service be at home. So I'm in the process of moving things around on the table so I can put my computer in place and get everything set up so that we can be ready for church service in a little bit. And of course you have to do the wiping, so that's where we are. Okay, it's to the next project. You know, when you're in the midst of thinking about putting things back where they go, making sure that they're in the right place and how you turn them. And I'm kind of into a certain process that I use with my silverware. So I'm just kind of getting everything back where it's supposed to be and taking you along with me on that trip. I'll probably shorten some of this just because I'm trying to save you. The baking shelf is ready. Everything's labeled and ready to go. The best time of the day is always when we're ready to get dinner started. And I'm starting with some greens. And you know, I had frozen greens and you go back and look. So I'm just going to put in this pot some rapeseed oil. That's where I'm going to start. I've got an onion that I've cut up, and I'm debating on whether I'm going to do two because they were so little. But anyway, we've got onions that are going to go down in the bottom of this pot. All right, we have the onions in the pot along with the grapeseed oil. We are going to let that come up. You see I'm kind of giving it a zhuzh so it will not stick, and I'm actually going to cut the heat up. Now it's time to add a little seasoning. So I'm going to start with just about a half teaspoon of bacon grease because I'm not going to put any meat per se in the greens, but I am going to add a little bit of the meat seasoning. So we've got a little bacon grease in there with the grapeseed oil. So these greens are going to taste delicious, and they're going to taste like we have cooked them for a very long time. Now, of course, we have to have some pepperoncino. So we're going to sprinkle a little pepperoncino in there. And this is going to be a little, actually, when it cooks down, it's going to be enough for about 3 to 4 people, really more like 3. So there's our house seasoning, a little sprinkle of that. And you know, with seasoning, it depends on you and your family. And if you like your food a little spicy, then you can add that in. Now I'm adding in 2 cups of water. And I'm adding those 2 cups in to get it nice and hot and bubbly because the greens are frozen. And I'm using kale. There's my bag, and you can see I've been working on that bag slowly but surely, just using it up as I go. So I'm going to place some of the greens in. I'm not going to place all of them in initially, and in fact I'm not going to use them all tonight, I don't think. I think I would probably just use about half, but we're going to see what that looks like. Let it cook down for a couple of minutes, and then we can always add more in. So we've got it started because it's just the 2 of us, so I don't really need to fix a large pot. And since I have them in the freezer, I don't have to fix all of them. So we're letting those greens just get happy, and we're trying to make sure that it's nice and hot, but we do not want it to stick. So every now and then I'm taking the spoon and just stirring it around so that nothing will stick and everything's moving as it should, because you know we've got some liquid down under there. So we're going to let that come to a good bubble. Now I am going to add just about a half teaspoon, a heaping half teaspoon of chicken bouillon, because this is a weeknight meal, and so I did not have any chicken broth. So this is a half teaspoon that I'm putting in. That's why I looked at it to make sure that I had the right measurement. So we have our half teaspoon of chicken bouillon, and I'm just stirring that up. Now, after it started to cook down, I thought, I better put a little more. And let me tell you the real reason why I decided to add more. I'm going to use some of these greens later in the week. And so I wanted to have them already prepared, so then that way I can just add them to the dish, and I won't have to go through a long cooking process with them. Because you do have to cook greens, otherwise sometimes they're a little tough. Now, I've got a secret to tenderizing these greens, so you're going to see what that is. So I am just going to go and I need some vinegar. I'm going to add just a little bit more water to the pot, and rather than try to measure out a cup and bring it back, I just added in a little water, probably about another cup. And I wanted enough in there that I could just see the liquid, because it's going to boil, and you know, of course it's going to evaporate. And in fact, I'm going to cover it so that most of that moisture will stay in there, because I'm going to use those liquids later. So we've got our spoon, and what I'm doing over there is that I'm sprinkling in about a half teaspoon of sugar. And the reason for the sugar is to help to take away some of the green bitterness, because greens can be bitter. So first, that's secret number one, add just a smidget of sugar, not enough to make it sweet. And the second is to add a couple of caps of apple cider vinegar. Now, if you don't have apple cider, you can use regular white vinegar, but I just think the apple cider gives it a better flavor. So I'm putting in 2 capfuls of apple cider vinegar into the mix. 2, and only 2, because we're not going to ferment this or do anything like that. We're just taking away the bitterness and giving it that little special, it just adds umami to the dish. So I have put the top on this container, and if you'll see, I've got my skillet over there. Now my skillet is turned on because I want it to be hot. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fix a chicken meal. And I'm going to use some chicken thighs, and I'm going to cook it all in the oven in a 1-pot meal. See, our chicken thighs are in there. I'm adding grapeseed oil on both sides. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because those things, I had them in the refrigerator. I had them out during the day, and they were still partially frozen. So because of that, we're going to work with it anyway. So I've sprinkled seasoning on it. I'm going to add more seasoning to it, but I'm going to let them get very lightly golden on each side. And you'll see I'm going to turn them over, and then I'm going to start to add some other items in. I'm going to put in some potatoes, and see, I'm waiting for it to come up easily. There we go. And then I'm going to flip it, and these are boneless chicken thighs, and they came out so tender, guys. They were so tender, and I was just real tickled with how good they were. And I added in just enough liquid to let them simmer, and it had a nice little gravy to it. See, I'm trying to get that moving a little bit. I want that to soften up. In fact, I needed that to open, but it's not cooperating, so we're just going to have to deal with it. And I'll have to be patient, which I'm not always patient. And so I'm flipping it over and just kind of working with those chicken thighs to get them ready for the oven. Now the oven is on 375. So let's sprinkle on some house seasoning. And the house seasoning is going to add to the color and the seasoning of the chicken thighs. And it makes them so good. And you know, I have to have some pepper. So we're putting on my pepper for each of the breasts. And so that's going to be in there. We're going to add, I've got some potatoes cut up. And we're going to put some potatoes in there. So there's a little bit of salt, about a teaspoon of salt, that I'm just sprinkling across those chicken thighs because I want them well seasoned. So there we go. We got the salt on. So we're just going to let those sit there and kind of brown up. And the oven's heating up, because they're actually going to finish their cooking process in the oven. Now let me ask you this. How many of you come in and really utilize your oven when you're cooking? Because what it allows you to do is to put things into the oven, and it gives you a chance to focus on something else while that part of the dish is cooking. Now, those are red onions that I'm sprinkling over the chicken. And yes, I lost one. He jumped out. So I've got to throw that away. So we've got the onions. We're going to have some potatoes that are going to go in there that I've sliced lengthwise. And they're little Yukon potatoes, but they were so tender. Look at how tiny they are. They are so good. Oh, they were delicious. So I am just sprinkling those over the top because they're going to cook while the chicken is cooking. Okay, we got those in there. And you know, since we've added a new layer, we're going to need to add just a little bit more seasoning because those potatoes are not seasoned, and we need to sprinkle a little more seasoning over them. So we'll take care of that. And so I'm just kind of washing my hands, getting things cleaned up. So let's utilize our time as best we can. So these are the greens that are left in that bag, and you'll see that I'm just going to fold them up, get as much of that air out. Going to zip it up. I love those 2-gallon bags. They are the best ever. And I'm going to place it right back in the freezer because that's going to be for another night. And just think, I have 4 full bags of fresh picked greens, which I just love. And so we're going to while I was in there, I found some mushrooms, and chicken and mushrooms go together. So I'm just kind of taking those, breaking them up a little bit because I had thrown them in the freezer. I didn't want them to go bad. And I'm just sprinkling those into the dish. So there they are. Just putting those in, and then later we'll stir. But they're going to be in there. They're going to get nice and hot and flavorful as well. We're going to need a top, and here's our pepperoncinos. Let's get those in there. Just a little. You see, I'm not doing a heavy. There's some more pepper over that upper layer of food that is in that skillet. I'm packing it in, baby. I'm putting it in. So there's my top that I thought I was going to use. You're going to find that it was a little too big, so I had to get another one. So I decided, okay, let's put a little chicken broth in there. That's 1 cup of chicken broth that I am adding into the skillet. 1 cup. And I am going to add in just a tiny bit more water. Now the reason for that is that we want a little gravy. You know, you got chicken, you got mushrooms, you got potatoes, you want some gravy. So there's a cup of broth and a cup of water. And that broth was well flavored. So here we go. Dinner is ready, guys. Yummy, yummy. This is undoubtedly the best smelling candle ever. Now, while I'm shining my light, I'm also enjoying the fragrance. Can you see all the little lemons? And it's called fresh lemon. Well, guys, we had a wonderful time in the kitchen. It was so much fun. I can't believe I got so much accomplished. I got the cabinet, my baking cabinet straightened out, and it looks so nice. I got my refrigerator cleaned out, so now I know exactly what I have. Threw away some things I didn't need, and that's taken care of, and we fixed a delicious meal on top of that. I've had a great time with you today right here in this kitchen. So don't forget, in this kitchen, we work hard. We love God and family. And we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. So I'll see you soon.